We're live.
Let's see if it's coming up.
We're live.
Live.
How are y'all tonight? New Year's night. Happy New Year.
We'll let a few more people get on. It looks dark behind us. Is it always this dark? Well, hello. How are y'all? Are you going to talk?
Mm-mm.
Not going to talk?
Always get in trouble for what I say, so I'm going to let you talk.
Oh, my gosh.
I do have some people wanting to know how to make cheese, so that was one of the things we were going to discuss tonight.
Making cheese. That is good. We ate some. Well, no, we didn't eat that tonight. I got it out. We didn't eat it. Hey, Mimsy, how are you? Let a few more get on.
It's pretty cool in Mississippi to be, I guess, compared to the past few days. I got kind of cold tonight.
2 or 3 cold days, but before that it was like 70.
It was really warm with a lot of bad weather. Well, we had some spouts of bad weather for sure.
Yeah, that's what's so crazy about our weather. It goes from cold to hot, cold to hot, cold to hot.
Yep. And usually January and February is our coldest time of year. But I have to admit, my parsley and stuff in the greenhouse looks really good right now.
Yeah, we've got a good start on our greenhouse already. It's doing really, really well. Really well. We've been eating greens like crazy, and then you're starting to see a lot more of our lettuce starting to really come up and really do well. So
that's what I have is our kombucha.
Hey, Miss Darlene, 40s.
This is what we started from the SCOBY that I made, and it's really good.
Mr. Alton, 33 in North Carolina. Wow, you're colder than Oregon. That's crazy. We I don't know if I know Mimsy, but it seems like in the South we have to get a real bad storm for us to get cold. So we had a storm this weekend. Like I said, it's finally started getting kind of chilly again. Hey, having the homestead.
Happy New Year.
We're actually supposed to get a storm tomorrow, so we'll see what happens there. It's still pretty cold, so I don't think it'll be bad.
Actually, I think it's supposed to roll in like early morning, like tonight. Yes. Had collards for supper. Amen. That's what we had
last
night, and then I had some for lunch today. But it has to be with homemade cornbread.
See, I can eat collards with cornbread. I can eat them.
Oh, but they're just so good in a bowl with cornbread on top.
I'd rather eat collards than any other kind of green. I like turnips and I like mustard, but man, collards are where it's at.
Yes, we like the homemade kombucha better than store-bought too. Mango, we've not tried mango. We've done pineapple and apple mix.
That's kind of our go-to. We've always liked pineapple, so
I want to throw some peach in there soon too.
See, I want to try some berries.
We just ran out of I made 3 batches with 1 bottle of organic apple juice and pineapple juice. So I made 3 batches. And I think a batch is lasting us about 4 or 5 days.
Something like that.
A batch is lasting us about 4 or 5 days. But the really upside to it is the kids love it. Like for breakfast this morning, my 4-year-old, she's just going to be 5 in a few days. She wanted kombucha with breakfast. I'm like, whose kids want kombucha with breakfast? So that is, it's gut healthy. You can't beat it. It's better than orange juice. Health-wise. So it's not better than our milk, I wouldn't think.
No.
But I would rather give them kombucha than orange juice any day. I love it. But I like a real sweet, kind of a stronger flavor too. So
I like the stronger, but not too sweet. Missy likes hers a little sweeter than I do.
He wants his more vinegary.
Yeah, like
he wants his to go like 6 or 7 days. Where I kind of want to take it up at 4 or 5. So, and the kids like it there too. So we've just been taking it up at 4 or 5.
It's never too late for another bowl of cornbread and greens. We actually have some that we'll probably eat tomorrow too. So it's to a point where how do you keep your greens? Do y'all freeze them? Do you blanch them and freeze them, or do you freeze them straight out of the garden? Give me some ideas. We've tried both ways and they've both done well, but what's the best way to do it? What do y'all think?
Well, we 2 years ago, bugs got in them last year, basically destroyed them.
Yeah.
But the year before
Had a
that,
really good harvest.
I was doing mostly from the garden straight to the freezer. But when I would put them in the pot, I didn't particularly like the way they
Clean
kind
and
of would.
chop.
He said
Yeah.
blanch and freeze.
But she said clean and chop. So it's funny because we've done both and we were just seeing what everybody else does.
But I'm kind of like, I know if I go ahead and kind of blanch them and cook them down and then put them in the freezer, I already know what consistency they're going to be. When I cut them up and put them straight in the freezer, I kind of like, they're kind of like
They get soggy to me.
a fall aparty texture. I mean,
Fall aparty.
I don't know how to describe it. Like when you go to take them out of the freezer and you put them in the water, they kind of like disintegrate. That's what I mean by fall aparty. Like
Fall aparty.
I don't know. And I'm just kind of like, then it's like soup almost. So I don't know.
Hey, Organic Raw Roots
Fresh
Farm.
is the best to me.
I've got nowhere now.
We have so many. We
Yeah,
really need to. We've got to do something with them. I don't want them to just sit out there.
We've got 5 rows, and again, you know, we're organic gardening, so I've learned to, and I've watched tons of market gardeners saying the same thing about making sure we plant over and abundant, because ultimately, since we're not using pesticides and fertilizers that are, synthetic fertilizers,
Ooh.
that bugs will get in some, and they did last year. So this year I planted mustards, which are good, of course, good cross for us. We like mustard greens anyway. They're a little bit more bitter, but I like them personally because they're smaller and just they have a good taste. But they're also very good for the soil. They're actually a cover crop. They are a cover crop, so they're doing 2 or 3 things. Mm-hmm. Well, it's amazing how the bugs went towards the mustard greens this year and left our collards alone. Our collards are absolutely
beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Absolutely, not really a bite on one. They are absolutely beautiful. Now,
hey Stacy,
we do have some bug evidence on the mustards, but the other ones are
the collards are absolutely gorgeous,
beautiful.
And I don't know about y'all. I've gotten to where I can't. I don't want to buy store bought.
That's okay, Terry.
I don't even want to buy.
We appreciate you being here.
I don't even want to buy. Greens that are big anymore. Like there's some gardeners around here that grow big greens, and I'm nothing against them. We've just gotten so used to eating immature baby greens.
Like when they're like we usually pick them when the full leaf is about the size of our hand, but they're very
that's
tender.
As big as we want. I mean,
they're very tender and they're not as bitter. So I'll go out there and pick us a big basket and come in and cook them down, and season them. And man, you just can't beat them.
You can't.
They're so good.
I actually love winter gardening. It's my favorite. I mean, it's less intrusive with,
grasses
weeds, less invasive with
less bugs.
It's, oh man, I love it. It's just awesome.
It's probably my favorite too. And I feel like we like a lot of the broccolis, the cabbages, the greens, the carrot. I mean, our whole family eats all of it.
We grew this year. I don't know if we had a mixed seed or something we were not used to. We grew a cabbage that was it almost looks like a hempweed. I mean, it's like a what do they call them? Like a ragweed. It's a very strange cabbage. I've never grown it. We've never grown it. I don't even know where we got it, to be honest with you. I think we got it local, but we've been eating it as a salad green. But boy, it's got some power to it. I like
it's
greens.
Very strong. Hey, North Star Prep Center.
I like greens, but man, I think my beard gets longer every time I eat it because it can grow some hair on your chest.
They're very stout.
They're very taint. And I, like I said, I can eat just about any green. Period. They got some bite to them. But I had to get the name. It's not a head cabbage. It's more of a leafy green cabbage. So we've been eating it almost like a kale, and man, it is bold.
Yeah, it is bold. That's a good word. Bold's a good word.
Bold is a very good word.
So I was talking with Miss Terry from Organic Root Farms, and she was wanting me to, since we're on the live, it's a little bit easier to try to explain it. And I don't have a video on it, so if you're still on here, this is for you, to talk about the process of making cheese with raw milk. So from all the research that I've done, and I've never tried it, but apparently you cannot make, from like I said, from the research that I've done, I've never tried it, but apparently you can't make cheese from this kind of cheese from store-bought milk. You have to have raw milk. And that was one of the things I was telling her. It has something to do with the curds and the homogenation process. So raw milk, and I don't, yes, it is. I don't, he said, is that your boots? Yes, it is. So I don't measure, but I usually use about a gallon of milk. And you want to bring it, so I put it on the stove top. I bring it up to temperature, not boiling, but not
simmering.
Right, like it doesn't come to a boil yet, but it's still too hot for you to put your finger in. So you're going to, when you see it get to that point, it's really hot. Okay, then I just take my bottle of vinegar. You can use apple cider vinegar, regular vinegar. Some people have even seen use lemon juice. I don't use lemon juice.
We use ACV most of the time just because we have it here.
Right. So, and I do a lot of cleaning and stuff with my lemon juice, so I don't use it to do in my milk. But I've read that you can do that. But I use apple cider vinegar, or just regular vinegar. And I just take my bottle and I pour it in my milk very slow, and then I just take a spoon and stir. Probably 2 tablespoons. When I get to 2 tablespoons, I stop, and then I just keep stirring. And then you're gonna see it go from white. You're gonna see your white come together, and then your whey will completely separate. I mean, you're gonna see the milk consistency completely change. When it gets to that point, you've had enough apple cider vinegar. If you poured your 2 tablespoons and it hasn't, it's still that whitey looking color, or maybe a few little clumps, you need to add some more apple cider vinegar. Keep stirring until you get to that. Your whey looks kind of like this color, maybe a little bit lighter. So you're gonna see your curd just come together. There's your cheese. So it's just that easy. Bring your milk up till it gets almost to boiling. You want it to be really, really hot. Start pouring your apple cider vinegar in really, really slow. Stir, stir, stir. It's all gonna come together. You're gonna see your whey separate out. Then I get mine and put it in a hot bowl of water and basically wash it, because I'm going to try to get as much of the whey off as I can. Then I take it with my hands and I kind of form it into a ball, and then I stick it in ice water and I'll let it harden. And then I pick it up and just kind of squeeze it again as much as I can, get as much water off as I can. I pop it in the freezer for about 2 or 3 hours. Then I take it out and I get the whole clump and get a shredder and just shred it and stick it in the refrigerator. And that's how I make my mozzarella cheese. We eat it on grilled cheese, sandwiches. I've made pizza with it. Colby was laughing because when we were eating the pizza, it just kept stringing way out.
It was awesome.
And he was like, "This is like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles string cheese." So I mean, we're really from the
perfect. 80s and 90s, so I always wanted string cheese like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
And literally, that's what it
was the bomb.
That's what it will do. But I do need to tell you this that I forgot to mention. So,
hey, Grammy Karen,
I have seen a lot of people add their salt. You can add basil, garlic, onion, whatever seasoning you want to put in. Some people, once they get it in their full bowl and kind of wash it in the hot water, they add their seasonings then. But I'm going to be honest with you, to me, it's hard to work it all in. So when I pour my gallon of milk in, I add whatever I want right then. And then I stir, stir, stir. When I get it up to temperature, then I put my apple cider vinegar in, and then I take my whole, once it curds up like it's supposed to, I take my bowl of cheese, and it usually will give me a little bigger than a handful from a gallon, a ball of cheese. And then I need to weigh it. I would actually like to know, maybe a half a pound.
I'd say it's more than that, but I'd say it's close to 12 ounces, I would say.
Well, anyway, your seasoning is already in there. So then you're going to kind of wash the whey off. form it, drop it in your cold water, and then stick it in the freezer until you're ready to shred it. So I found it easier, and this was strictly experimental for me because all of the ones I had watched in the past had pretty much added it in, but it's done perfect. So I like to add mine in. When I pour the milk in, I put the seasonings that I want because it all kind of goes together, and I don't find myself having to try to work it in that stretchy cheese. It just, to me, it doesn't evenly distribute the seasonings. Does that make sense?
Hey, Sonny's Place. Hey, Mustang Sally. Mustang Sally, our SCOBY is doing awesome. It looks like one big booger pancake. There's no other way
I didn't
for
really know what to expect when I pulled that thing up, but
like one big
gelatinous
spit
pancake. That's what I would.
Hey, I want to know
as.
now. I eat and drink a lot of things that a lot of people don't, but I'm not. Have you ever watched GT's video? Misty was talking about it.
I have. Look, I
GT
do my
Dave
research.
that does kombucha.
I
That's
want
one
to
of the
see
biggest bottles.
Colby drink this.
I don't mind drinking a little bit if it's shook up, but like they cut SCOBY up and
they take
shots. SCOBY shots.
SCOBY shots. That's what they called it. I want to see him do that. We need to do like a video challenge.
I don't know. That sounds funky.
It's like slime. So if your kids like slime or to play with slime, it's like slime in a cup.
I know, Daniel. It's supposed to be really good for you. I just don't know.
Yeah, this GT. His name is GT, and it's short for George Thomas.
Yeah.
George Thomas is his name, but he goes by GT. So they were like doing shots with like as a challenge. It was hilarious.
And so we could do that because our SCOBY, when we actually do our second ferment, we always develop another SCOBY.
Yeah,
so we could easily do it. But so it's just like.
When I set these out for their second ferment, one tries to form on top if I don't get, that's like after 2 days. So if I left it for like 14 days, I would have another SCOBY on here.
I have to try to do a video on that. I don't know if I could do it. The soap is almost ready. Misty has made a lot of it, but it won't be ready till late February.
But this is my problem. I went to UPS, and I typed in it. The soap weighed, I think it said a pound. Yeah, it was a pound. I typed it in, and it was giving me a price of like $14.
No, it's not that much. That you must be doing it shipping like overnight.
The only option it was giving me was 2 day.
We could probably do USPS.
So the only thing that we haven't figured out, is because it's homemade and every bar is not the same exact size.
Hey,
shipping's going to range a little bit on prices, so we're trying to work that out. Anywhere from like 15 ounces to a little over a pound, just because some bars are thinner than others, and it's homemade, it's not perfect. Save me 3 bars. So if I can get the deal weight on shipping to find out like what that's going to be, that's really, I've been making soap like a crazy lady.
Yeah, we've made a lot of soap. Misty's, she sold a lot. That's good.
And I already have a ton of orders for February.
It smells good too. It smells real good. I know it's supposed to be really good for you, Daniel. I just
we gotta get him to do it.
I'll eat anything.
We'll call it the SCOBY Shots Challenge to see if you can swallow it. I couldn't. I think it would make me gag, and I would be sick.
Oh.
But I would like to see you do it. He let me eat squid during Christmas, y'all. I didn't know what it was.
We went to a gathering, and we don't, we just don't eat out a lot. And my wife, we don't do dinner parties, so we were invited to this location to eat, and it was a nicer hors d'oeuvre situation. And so, so I'm over there getting my food, and
I thought it was
and Missy was getting her food, and she's gotten on this kick. Like she's like, I just love fried onions.
I want to eat them all the time.
Eat my fried onions
with
all the time.
Everything. Hamburgers, salads. I want fried onions.
I looked at it and I knew it wasn't no fried onions. I knew it was calamari. So here she is. She's like picking up tons of it like it's fried onions, and she's just a smacking it. And I finally looked at her, and she offered me some. She's like, "Do you want these fried onions?" I was like, "No." And she knew at that time when I turned something down, she's like, "What is this?" She was eating squid, so I thought it's kind of funny. She quit eating the fried onions, though.
Yes, I did. Just the thought of it.
Mine over
What
matter.
about flat rate? Well, I don't go to the post office.
That's what
Colby does all of our post office pickups
me.
usually.
Yeah,
And,
that's what I was thinking. Flat rate's can probably be the best way. The only thing about flat rate, you can't get it. Usually it's not 2 days. Usually it takes a little bit longer. But that's actually probably the way we're going to go organic raw roots.
But we just have to get there and ask them, packaging and pricing and all that. So that's something that I'm going to kind of have to depend on him to do, because I stay home and do school with the kids all day, and he kind of, when he's at work, he's out and about and does all the post office stuff. So we're going to have to.
My wife,
it does look like fried onions, doesn't it?
My wife is not the biggest seafood eater. Like, I like sushi. I like fish. I think it's one of the best things to eat. But my wife is not that person.
I got
hey,
400
dogs.
when they came ashore this year. I will pass on the squid. Thank you.
That's funny. Ooh. See, I'm not I don't like calamari. I don't eat it. I mean, I can eat it.
It didn't have that much of a taste, really. But for me, it's a mental thing. Like, he wants sheep, and I'm like, I can't kill the sheep and then eat it. Cow is different, but we're used to eating beef
she's like,
and pork.
She's like, we can do that to a pig and cow and chicken, but maybe not a sheep. And I
don't think I can do that to a sheep that I raised. I don't even eat sheep.
Will be here in spring, so
I would rather have turkey.
Well, we'll have turkey too. Yes, ma'am. Northwest Star Press Service. Kathy, just email us. We will be glad to get you on the list.
And sure. Mustang Sally, yes, you're right. So the process is, I found in Jackson a bottle of raw kombucha that's non-flavored, and it has to be specifically labeled as no flavor. So I used that, and I basically made tea. But you want your tea to not be hot. I have a video on this, but this is just a recap. You want your tea to not be hot, room temperature. You want your bottle of store-bought kombucha. You can buy some cultures online. If you know somebody in the area that makes it, you can get one from them. Then you're just inoculating the tea. You're going to cover it up. I covered mine up with cheesecloth, rubber band, a tie string, anything to keep that cheesecloth clamped down tight on it. You're going to put that tea up in a dark cabinet for about 3 to 4 weeks and leave it. And it's going to basically ferment.
This smells like cow.
And a SCOBY is a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. So you're going to have that SCOBY form on top. And you're basically going to pour because then when it's fermented, it's called kombucha. And then you're going to pour that off, keep your SCOBY with a cup of kombucha, and then you're going to feed it tea again. And then it's just going to keep making kombucha. And then we bottle ours. After we pull off of it, we bottle it, flavor it, put the seal on very tight, put it on the counter. I have found that 2 days gives it good flavor, good carbonation, and then it's done. You stick it in the refrigerator and start drinking it, and then that's that easy.
When you're looking for raw kombucha, if you try to buy it on Amazon, you're going to be paying an arm and a leg. Best place to find it is Whole Foods, places like Walmart, Fresh Markets, things like that. They'll have kombucha, and they'll have GT Dave or either Kavita. They'll have a lot of them, but they'll still have a little flavoring in it, or ginger. You do need raw, and it's hard to find raw. We actually found in our Whole Foods in Jackson, which was about an hour away, they had two bottles of raw, and we bought them both because, to be honest with you, it's hard to find raw kombucha.
But if you do have like a Whole Foods near you, or even a Walmart near you, I would just give them a call and make sure that they have it before you drove. We just happened to be in the area, so I told Colby I wanted to go by there. Fresh Foods did not in our area. Fresh Foods did not. Whole Foods, Fresh Market, the Fresh Market.
Yeah, Fresh Market
did not, but Whole Foods did.
Sonny's Place.
Thank you, Miss Kathy, for putting that up there.
If you're making a stronger kombucha, I think that I would just ease it into your typical diet, because it can. I mean, it's a gut health digestion drink, and just like anything that's fermented. When it's fermented, it could cause some discomfort to you. But we, like with our kids, We let them just kind of drink on a little bit as we went. And we used to buy kombucha in the store, and kombucha in the store is expensive. So that's how we kind of worked into it. So now since we make it, all our kids drink it, and I'm not gonna let them go down 4 bottles, but I mean, at
We
the same
almost
time,
did the other day.
we
My
usually
daughter wiped down a bottle.
if they drink on a bottle a day, it doesn't affect us or bother our kids by any means.
Well,
so.
and our guts are used to that, and it kind of goes back to like you said,
Right, Kathy.
even with raw milk, you're exactly right. Even with something like raw milk, because it's good bacteria, it's bad bacteria, but your body's not used to it. So I would start like she said, 4 to 6 ounces, just a little bit, maybe a half a cup, something like that, and see how your body responds, just to make sure you're not gonna have any reactions or issues or anything like that. And then go. I mean, my 8-year-old wiped out. She says it tastes like Sprite. But it's the carbonation that she likes. She drank a whole bottle.
We don't drink soft drinks or carbonated drinks at all. So for them, that gives them that kind of thought like everybody else has.
Your body will tell you how much it wants.
And it's like Misty said about the raw milk. That's a great point. If you're drinking store-bought milk and all of a sudden you get good night, our Cabin in the Woods, thank you for coming on. If you start drinking raw milk and you've only been drinking just store-bought milk and you just start downing like you do store-bought milk, I mean, you could have some issues. I mean, it could cause some issues just because you're not used to it. Your body hadn't processed real, true milk, which is a complete difference than the trash we get in the store. So I think it's like anything else. You work it into your diet. It's kind of like, you don't want to, if you never ate Brussels sprouts, I wouldn't say go eat 4 pounds of them because it can mess you up. So
sometimes I'll go a couple of days without one.
No, Sonny's place, I think you're okay. You don't have to do it every long weekend.
I wouldn't think so.
No.
And not unless you're very, very gut sensitive to things.
And I'll tell you, we
like
watched
maybe
the video.
If you have your gallbladder out or something, coming from a nurse's perspective. But otherwise, I wouldn't think. I mean, my 1-year-old drinks it. If that tells you something, I put a cup in his sippy cup the other day.
We and see, the thing is too.
She just said the same thing.
Yeah. The thing is too, they'll tell you. We watched a video on a doctor that actually his sister, his brother is a kombucha maker, like a true brewer, commercial brewer, and he said that for just about anybody and everybody, it's healthy for our guts. But when you talk about someone who's dealing with diverticulitis or someone that's dealing with
like any gut
ulcerative colitis,
already.
anything dealing with gut issues, it's you need to watch it. I'm not saying down it. He said just incrementally work it into your diet.
Yeah, if your husband already has a sensitive stomach,
and
you're interested in it, I would definitely start off slow for sure.
But that's anything fermented. I mean, same way.
No, that's right. It's
anything raw, anything fermented is
right.
gonna kind of give you a kickstart. It just is. I mean, I don't know how the other way to say it. Did you say hey to Fermented Homestead?
I did.
Hey, how are you?
You were talking, so I hope they heard me, but yes.
All right, Mimsy, thank you. Absolutely. Being that your name is the proper title.
Yep. We were just we were talking about kombucha.
What's so cool to me though is we're from the South. So in the South, and of course a lot of y'all, there's so many different people on here. What we found is in the North, we see a lot more fermentation. In the South, we see a lot more, canning or freezing, preserving in some other way. So I think that what we've learned is as we went and kind of explored all these new homesteads that we watched and looked and made friends, that fermentation's really, we're trying to make fermentation a bigger part of our diet.
Right.
We're used to raw vegetables. We're used to raw, we drink raw milk. We have a lot of raw greens. So it's just a different way for us. We really try to embrace fermentation, but at the same time, we don't eat like, I say that, but we don't eat like sauerkrauts and things like that. So we kind of have to look at it through maybe the sourdoughs or maybe, like I said, the kombucha.
Grammy Karen said the elderberry is good, but it affected me that way. And see, we drink elderberry every day too. Right. So, but it didn't affect us either. But we have been doing that for when I first started making it, we would drink it on and off. Like if we knew we were exposed or something, or if we were going to be around a lot of people, we would make sure to drink our elderberry. This year, because the flu and the stomach virus is going so bad, especially in our church, we drink elderberry several times a day. Every morning for sure, but we here recently we'll drink it in the morning and at night. And thankfully we have been blessed so far.
Traditions.
The worst things that we've had is some runny noses, and that's
we don't
about
do the flu shot, and of course we don't do anything like that if we don't have to. But I will say this, elderberries grows very heavy in this area, so we picked a ton of them, as y'all saw in some of the videos. If you watched any of our videos with elderberry, then we buy some dried organic too. But what's so cool is in our area is you're starting to see a trend where people are realizing, hey, this is actually good for you, and it almost grows as a weed here. So it allows us to be able to almost teach people a little bit about elderberry. And so now we sell
and it is
a lot of elderberry syrup, and that's that's probably one of the biggest money maker really in the fall season, I would think. And we use a lot of honey for it. So.
I actually had somebody contact me today wanting a jar, but I'm trying to conserve my honey to get me through spring. So I've kind of shut that down so far. I've sold a lot of elderberry this year. But I was gonna say, Grammy Karen, that also I have a video up on it. It's really, really, really easy.
There's two forms of elderberry that we make, and we make a more simple form now.
Right.
We make there's a super. I mean,
it's called the ultimate elderberry syrup.
Now, if you're that one though, the only thing I want to kind of preface this one, it's probably way better for your health, but it's a very expensive way to make it. So for us, if you're commercially just drinking it like we do, like Misty said, we drink our kid. We have we're 7 people in a family. You can go get it right quick.
How much elderberry do you have at one time?
So it's crazy. So if you're wanting the super, the super beneficial elderberry, and you're not drinking a lot, you just want it simply in flu season. It's got a lot more things like bilberry in it, a lot more ginger root, hibiscus flower. So a lot of those, this is typical for us to have in our fridge pretty much all the time. And that we'll go through that probably in a week and a half.
Probably about a week.
Yeah. So we drink a lot of it, and to be honest with you, what's so cool is just like anything else. All right, we look at everything in an entrepreneurial way. So if our homestead could provide something for us, we know it can provide something for somebody else too. And so then as we start providing for other people, it allows us to have ours
for basically free.
So now let me tell you this one. Misty's got a video on it, and what she can tell you, we still put a lot of good things in it, but things like bilberry. If you ever priced out bilberry's like 60. Well, I think it's like $66 per pound.
It is double the price of elderberry.
Yeah, elderberry's 30.
Right.
On the market.
Well, it's
23
it's 20. It's about 20.
So we don't use bilberry too much, especially because we drink it in such high volume.
Right. The ultimate recipe that I was using calls for rose hip, hibiscus flowers, engineer root, bilberry, elderberry, ginger root, cloves. I mean, it had a lot of stuff in it, and it was really good. But it was to where
that's right, pitiless plantation.
This probably cost me to make this 2 quarts. I would say, with everything added in, maybe $15 or $20. But we get the honey for free, so that's a major plus for us. If I had to buy honey, it would be more than that. But if that was the ultimate bilberry, it would probably be about $40 or $45.
Now again, if you
and we just can't pay that a week for elderberry syrup.
Now we're not, and again, like I said, we're not really paying. That's probably what it would cost you. With us, the way we're doing ours, we really don't. It don't really cost us anything because we ultimately sell. When we, if we have our elderberry like we did this year, that's even better. But when we run out of our own elderberry, what we do is we'll buy dry organic. And it's not cheap, but then if I know we're going to order, Misty will go ahead and do kind of like a pre-order and say, okay, we'll be doing several quarts this week.
I have 3 pounds of dried elderberry syrup in my pantry. Dry elderberries in my pantry.
So for us, what we know, dried elderberry may cost us $70, but basically, if we sell just 2 or 3 quarts, that pays for that, and then so therefore we're sitting here with 2 or 3 quarts for free. So that's kind of how we do it, and then we just try to look at it in a business perspective way.
Right. The Having the Homestead said we do
Hey,
a shot of
Freedom.
elderberry every morning, and we do too. But
Every
when
morning, lunch, supper.
well, and when we know we've been exposed to something, or we go to church, or we go to Walmart, or we go to somewhere
Walmart, church is like.
we really do. We know we've been around a lot of people, and especially the flu literally has been like an epidemic here. I mean, it's
everywhere.
It's everywhere. So, and I had a lot of people in and out of my home during Christmas because we ended up selling like 90 something pounds of cinnamon rolls. This table back here was covered two layers tall, full of cinnamon rolls. So I had a lot of people in and out, and we just drink. And it's been very beneficial for us. But I was going to tell Miss Grammy Karen a while ago.
Miss Grammy Karen.
Miss Grammy Karen.
Miss Grammy Karen.
That make sure that your elderberry is cooked out very well, because it can upset your stomach if it's not boiled and cooked very well. They are berries and they are very good for you, but it's a very, very important. They can be toxic if they're not boiled for X amount of hours, and then minutes. I usually will turn mine on high, boil my water, make sure it's distilled, add all my stuff into it, let it boil for a few minutes, turn it down to medium low, put the top on the pot, and leave it for another 10 or 15 minutes.
And then we leave it overnight.
And then, oh, that's right. Then I move it off and let it sit overnight. And then I mix it up the next day. So that's very, very important. All people that are interested in making elderberry syrup, that it has to be cooked
and here's
long enough
thing too.
or at a high enough temperature, or it can.
And here's something we learned.
I was going to address that a while ago.
We learned it, and I don't know if we mentioned that in the video, but if you pick fresh elderberry, you're going to get some green berries with your elderberry, because if you wait till they get purple, you will have insects and they will eat them. So when you're picking your elderberry, one thing we learned: the more green you pick, you can't cook those green down, because that can cause a major issue for your system.
Right, get those green berries out.
They have a lot more poison in them than your typical system.
It can be very toxic, time consuming, but right, the green berries can be toxic if they cook in your syrup. So I would have to just sit there and just pick
don't get me wrong.
out.
If you got like one or two, that's not what we're talking about. But if if you're picking, and if you're picking an elderflower or elderberry patch, it's this big head. Well, 95% of that might be purple, but 5% of that may be green. Well,
so you just need to get those off
before we built the knowledge and wisdom of understanding fresh elderberry, because we were buying either frozen or dried.
I've already used all those though.
Yeah, definitely. Misty, after we got done all the work, it was like, oh, now we got to go back through and pick up all the green ones, because the toxicity in there could be bad for you.
Yeah.
We Organic Raw Roots Farm, so we have about 5 or 6. 1, 2, 3 big ones, and then 2 little ones. Elderberry.
Here on the property.
We have 5 planted, but
we have a lot in the woods mostly.
Yeah, Mississippi.
In the woods.
We have elderberry, the Sambuscus, what would you call it? Variety.
Type.
And it grows like wild weeds here. And actually, most people look at it as trash. I mean, they don't really know what they're doing, and it's worth $25 a pound, and they're sitting there spraying Roundup on it.
But I have a video on how to find elderberry, and it's so easy. Oh my gosh! But you do need to know what you're looking for, because berries can be very dangerous.
I've never tried the wolfberries. I saw that a while ago. I have not tried the wolfberries. Goji berries, we tried to grow some here. They didn't do well for us.
And I saw somebody say,
yes, Stacy, you're correct. If you let them get if you let them get like they're supposed to be on the vine,
the birds
and the insects will eat them within a day. That's how quick they'll eat them.
I ordered elderberry clippings. We ordered some, was it last year? No, it was the year before.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. It was 2 years ago. And I rooted them, and they grew beautiful, and then I planted them.
They didn't do too well.
And then I fertilized them by accident.
Oh, yeah, you did fertilize those, didn't you? Smoked them.
And
we had some old triple 13. We don't use synthetic fertilizer in anything, but we had
I've done that a few times, y'all. I've like, tell him, move all that stuff, throw it in the garbage. I don't care what you do, but I have killed apple trees.
Having the homestead, I bet money you do, because being in Louisiana, you're gonna probably have the same variety as us.
Look, and they thrive. I have found most of mine, and the biggest ones that I
Near
have been
water
found.
cutovers.
Yep. You find a creek or a river or anything
cutover
like that, that's where they're going to be. And they're so easy to spot. You're going to be looking during May. During May, you need to be looking for huge white flower heads. Big, I'm talking about like 2-hand flower heads.
They're beautiful.
They're beautiful.
But most people look at them as a weed, I promise you.
That is elderberry. And you're going to look at the leaf, and it's going to be really jagged. And it's going to look, some are super, super tall. I mean, like super
Stringy.
tall. And then some are short and stubby.
Mm-hmm.
So that can be kind of tricky to know what you're looking for there. But the flower itself is very easy to spot. And then that big, huge flower, each one of those flowers are going to turn into teeny tiny little green berries. And then those teeny tiny little green berries are going to turn into big, fat, purple.
I wish I could be paid and sponsored by this.
The flowers are edible too. That is true.
I wish I could be sponsored by this.
Looks like queen. Yeah, they're big, huge white flower heads. But the key that you're going to be wanting to look for is they turn into little bitty tiny green berries that turn into purple.
All right. So on my phone, I know you can't see this, but there's an app called Picture This. If you ever,
let me see.
I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can
see
show
if I can try to get it to focus.
This app. Now, again, we know what elderberry looks like, but anytime we're doubtful on any plant, especially because we've been trying to learn definitely more about wild greens growing. And I think what's so cool about this you could take a picture of the leaf, and it will tell you everything about it. It'll tell you if it's edible or not. It'll tell you the variety it is.
Well, and it'll give you usually the times that I've used it, it's told me like 1, 2, or 3 plants, but then it'll tell you all about those, each one of those, for you to look at it and say.
But some of them, like for instance, someone on the back side of our farm, I knew what pokeberry looked like, which is poisonous. You can't eat it. But I took that. My son, we were over there, and again, it just hit it, and it allowed them to say, "Hey, wait, you know exactly what this is," and told and kind of read about it. So it's called Picture This. Thank you, Kathy.
Can you repeat the app name? Picture This.
Yes, and Miss Kathy just did a tag for it.
She's the
great.
mom.
I know. I wish I could be a mod like her. Anyways, it's a great app. I mean, we used it for the passion fruit we found because we thought it was something edible. Here we are. We don't know. So anytime we doubt it, man, it's just a phenomenal app. And don't get me wrong, there's times that it may not know everything. But when we went to Polyface, I was with Ben at VW, and there's a lot of things growing, like some cover crop he had in some fields, and some of the random grass that I didn't know what it was, which are not native here. But what was neat is I could take a picture and say, okay, what was this? And it was amazing how it would tell me all these varieties of grass that he was growing. So then I could come back and research and say, okay, can I use this as a wild forage? Can we use this for our bees? Could we use this for this? And so forth. So it's a great app. It tries to charge you if you want to try to download 4 or 5 pictures. But what I do is I just erase them as I go.
Just delete them. That's right.
That's right. And it's just, hey, it's free. And it's awesome. So.
Yeah, I forgot about using it on that passion fruit because I didn't know what it was.
We looked it up that way. That's the way
we don't have a lot, I wouldn't say, but they're very hard to spot unless you catch that one purple flower. And I thought, that is just beautiful. I need to check that out. So I did, and that's what it was.
Well, for us, it allows me to, since we're trying to make a prettier pasture. If I see something growing and the cows just, they kind of walk around it and things like that, I'll go take a picture of it and see if it's some kind of invasive weed, or if it's a weed like, for instance, crabgrass. Even though it's a weed in our yard, cows love it. So if it's growing in my field, I'm good with that. But then there may be a patch of some other kind of weed that grows up that I can take a picture of and say, okay, is this something that my cows will eat? And it helps me kind of weed out some of those things too. So it's a great app to have for us.
Freedom Homestead passion fruit is everywhere around here. We don't have a lot, not that I have found. Around here, there was just one spot that I spotted those beautiful purple flowers.
Now here, if you're talking about wild things growing, wild food,
it's definitely elderberry,
dewberry, blackberry, and elderberry. That they grow like wildfire. I mean, it's actually here it becomes a briar, a weed, and then most people kill them. And it just upsets me so bad when I see these people spraying especially they grow really good and cutovers are on, like, for instance, pipelines and these big trellis energy lines, these utility lines. You'll see them growing wild around the side of those, and man, those sprayers come through, and it just hurts my heart because I'm thinking you have no idea what you're spraying and how much money that you just wasted.
Well, and just the benefits of things that God has given us that we're just killing.
Yep, definitely. You're right. Hey, plain speaker.
Yeah, the definitely elderberries around here. I come across 2 bridge crossovers that, of course, had the water flowing in the bottom, and they were loaded.
Yeah.
Now, if you go back to our elderberry videos where we used,
we had the sheriff department everywhere, and we did
pulled over on the. Well, actually, it's on the back side of our property. But it was on the road to where the creek was, so we drove around the backside, and it was on the frontage road, which is on the backside of our property. Anyway, so we were out there, and we had an extension cord because they were so far out. We needed something heavy that was long, so I got an extension cord and put it in the back of the Ranger, and we were literally taking an extension cord in and throwing it to the tree. And one thing that I don't really like a lot about elderberry is they're very, would you say they're brittle? Like the limbs and stuff break really easy.
Yeah, so you got to be kind of careful.
You do have to be careful. But we would basically rope it and then pull it to us, because if we were standing on the little bank, they were growing this way with all the berries hanging this way, and it was a huge drop. So we have a video on that, and it is so funny because we were having to try to rope those and bring them to us, and we were out there on the side of the road on a major highway, and a sheriff department pulled over and was like, "Hey, what y'all doing?" And thankfully, because of the business line that he's in and everything, he knew him, so he told him that we're just getting elderberry.
I'm wearing this random cat shirt too, like this goofy cat shirt. So this guy, I mean, we look like idiots.
No, the kids picked him out this shirt for his birthday that said "Got Milk," and it had a big picture of a cat's face drinking
dressed up
milk.
like a gangster.
He had a bandana on. And
hey, Ellen Farms.
Anyway, so we were out there on the side of the road doing that, and which is good. I'm glad to know that they want to know, hey, what are you doing on this person's property, which happened to be, ours, but still, it was funny. But you can find them biggest, bulkiest, prettiest berries that you've ever seen. Mostly
in our area,
by streams,
because like you said,
creeks.
like Tinker's wife, there was somebody that talked to us not too long ago that's from Oregon, and they said where ours basically we flower white and they go to a green, then to a deep purple. They were saying they were in Washington and Oregon, and they said theirs almost goes white and it goes to a powdery, then a blue. So it is definitely a different variety. So when we talk about ours, please understand we're talking about the elderberry sambucus that is native to our area, the zone 8 or zone 7 most likely.
Right.
Yeah, I was thugging it. I looked like it was crazy.
It was
We're hanging out on a highway with
all of our kids strapped down on their Ranger, throwing extension cords over trees. I mean,
people were like, "What are you doing?"
Actually, the alderman's passed by and was beeping the horn, and I saw her not long after that. She was like, "Yeah, I knew what y'all were out there doing. Y'all were out there getting those elderberries."
We're just a bunch of crazies.
Yes, we. She got it on there, foraging in the share, checking on.
It was crazy.
So, yep. That was an adventure. I think there's one on there too where I stand. I mean, this is how desperate we were. I climbed on the top of the Ranger because I told y'all earlier that some can grow really, really tall, and I couldn't reach them. And I had went through the woods because I knew where they were. Because in May, when I found all the flowers, I marked them with pink. I marked them with pink rope. So I knew where it was. I was going around the end of August to collect my elderberry. And so I go on the back side of the property, and it's so tall, I can't get to it, like the actual berries. So I pulled the Ranger up and climbed on top of the Ranger and reached up and just worked the limb down to me to get my elderberry in the bucket. That's how desperate I was for our own, to have our own.
And next year we're going to do better, because this year we end up getting a good bit of gallons, but At the same time, we went through them just because of how much we use and how much we sell. So next year we're going to really try to hit up a few more places. We have a lot of places around here. We just got to get them before the birds do. So.
Yeah. And also, let me say this: all of our folks watching, thank y'all so much. We really, really do appreciate hanging out with y'all. We love talking to y'all, and our moderators, thank y'all so much. Check them out. Their pages are awesome. They're doing lots of things. A lot of things similar to us. Some people live close to us. Miss Kathy lives very, very far away from us. So there's always things that you can learn. You can learn to do it in different ways. And then you can learn completely different things from people that live super, super far away from us. So thank y'all. And y'all be sure to check them out. They have awesome pages and awesome information as well.
Yep. We have to show a picture of our calf too, by the way. I was thinking about our calf. Our calf, we're trying to figure out if we're going to separate our calf because it's always a fight.
Don't do it.
It's a fight every morning. Like it's a challenge.
It's a race.
It's Colby a race to the milk. So every morning we're going out a little earlier. Like we eye each other every morning. And it's like who can get to the cow quicker, the calf or me? It's funny. I mean, I'm gonna start filming like what I do. Like I'll come out and if the calf is not with mama, she's like running to the mama like in slow motion. I'm like, no. So I'm like yelling at Allie to try to get in the stanchion so the calf won't get my milk. And every morning it's funny. We fight each other. So I like this morning I got like 2 gallons. Tomorrow morning I'll get like a gallon because she'll sit over there and laugh at me because she'll know when I'm coming out.
Yeah. If Josie beats him to the milk, it's like a gallon. If Colby can beat her.
Mustang Sally, we have a pig video coming out.
Yep, we do.
Tomorrow.
Man, it was
fun. Fun stuff.
We were wrestling with the pigs. You just gotta watch the video. Anyway, but if Colby can beat Josie and get her fully milked out, we usually get between 2 and 2.5. So, and I like that because I want the cream for butter. I can't keep up with butter. We drink, but of course I make yogurts and butters and all kinds of stuff too. So
the other day, I must have really made her mad because she sucked her dry and had like a half a gallon.
Yeah, it was not even.
I actually think I heard Josie laughing a little bit. I think she was laughing at me. I walked by and I think she was laughing. I really do. So in the mornings now, I walk out and I'm like, and I call our calf and I'll go hip hip, and so that she knows to go to the stanchion. So that allows me to hopefully beat the calf to Mama Allie. So thanks, Mimsy, for being here.
And also, speaking of what to do with the milk, so y'all know, and I talked about the cheese. That's something else I do with the milk. But I've really been looking into cream cheese. But I've been debating because I've been told to use cultures that you can buy. So I began to look at those and do some research on those today. And I didn't like some of the ingredients that I seen in it. So malts dextrose, was it how you say it? Was one of the ingredients. And long story short, after a lot of things that I watched, a lot of things that I read, it's basically a man-made sugar. And they take corn, a few other things, and they pull the sugar content, make this form of dehydrated sugar, powdery sugar stuff. And I don't particularly want that in my cream cheese. So I've been told to use that. But I don't want to.
We have made sour cream, by the way.
Yes, it's very similar to yogurt. It's very easy to do.
Fermented Homestead, we've heard that. It's we've looked at it and we never made kefir, but I have heard that a lot of people can't basically replace cream cheese with kefir cheese, and that's what I told Misty. I said sometimes we may not. Some of the things that we like to eat, sometimes we may not be able to make an organic or natural version of it. So that's where we may have to substitute things like kefir.
I was just not sold on the fact that sucrose, malt, what did I just say it was? Malt.
Well, sucrose is regular sugar, but the malt dextrose is
was
synthetic.
Another form of sugar. And I just, I'm taking something that's good for me and I'm making it not good for me by adding the stuff to it, and I just don't want to do that.
Right.
So anyway, I kept looking and kept digging, and I come across, I cannot remember. I'll have to look in a minute. It's on my phone, but I cannot remember it off the top of my head. But basically, the explanation that I gave y'all for cheese earlier, she makes cheese.
Night Grammy Karen.
And takes that, and just like I explained to y'all earlier, but then she puts it in a processor and basically processes it until it goes to pure cream. So I told Colby, what's it going to hurt? I'm going to try that and see if the consistency really turns out like cream, like she says it will. She said that it will take several minutes, kind of like it does our butter. Our butter is a process. It takes about 30 minutes in the blender. Yes, you're right. But the companies take that corn sugar and do something to it, do something else to it, because it breaks it up into like a different.
We do too, Freedom.
I was not bought. I was not bought by it. I don't want to take something healthy and make it unhealthy.
So sometimes I think what we've realized though is some of the things that if we're gonna cheat or we're gonna do whatever, we try to find out what we want to cheat on, and still we're gonna make sure it's a healthy and beneficial way of cheating. If it's like Misty made a pound cake, it's a healthy
and it
pound
has
cake.
Sugar.
There's no preservatives in it. It's made with all organics, but it has sugar.
Right.
It's raw sugar. But I want to
cane sugar, not white sugar.
We're fisting to, of course, get off because we don't want to interrupt a single dad. But I've been watching documentaries, and we talk about the broken food system. We talk about why we do what we do. I don't know if y'all have seen them on Netflix and Prime. The show Sustainable. It's a great show. Talks about more of the fertilization and organic farming. If you hadn't seen that, again, a great show. But I've been on a kick of watching this show called Rotten. They talk about the sucrose. They talk about the synthetic sugars and a lot of things we eat. Some of the sweets, the sugars, the corn, the just raw sugar, chocolate. All these crazy things that we would think that are good for us, even though even honey, how they mimic it and make it more GMO and MSG to try to make it
just adding little things to it.
And it ends up being very bad for you, but they sell it as a good product just because the way they got the FDA manipulated on some of their chemical listings.
It will make you think. It does. It makes you think. A lot of things that you eat.
So again, I go back to the fact of saying that with Misty with cream cheese. Sometimes we say, okay, we may not can make something, or we may not can have this because even though it might look okay and be okay, the stuff that they're putting in this is just not healthy for us. We were watching the documentary called Rotten.
She got
Sustainable is the movie. That is a great movie. It's about a family in I think in the Illinois area about a farm, and they're trying to be as organic, but they talk about how the Mississippi Valley and where the Mississippi River Valley has just been flooded with toxins and fertilizers, so it's really hurting our area. But the show that the one we've been watching is called Rotten. It talks about bottled water. It talks about a lot of things dealing with our food system. But one thing I really liked today on the show was talking about the antibiotics for bees, and they were talking about how honey. People don't realize when they're buying store-bought honey,
blow your mind.
when it's so cheap. When you can buy honey for $2 and $3 and $4 a can at Walmart or wherever you're buying, nothing against that honey or the people in it. Sometimes they can sell it as 100% because they're selling it with a rice sugar or with a MSG sugar that doesn't consider the high fructose corn syrup. So they can list it as a honey and not a syrup, and you'd be surprised how many times their bees are made with antibiotics, and their antibiotics for bees are bad for humans. It actually can cause a lot of issues. So watch those two shows. If you hadn't seen them, I just wanted to plug those, even though
she got it on there.
Yeah.
Rotten.
Now don't get me wrong. There's one episode of Rotten on the sugar one. There's a guy that he uses 2 or 3 choice words. So I mean, all the rest of them are pretty clean. I mean, they're not bad shows at all. But I'm just telling you, just if you watch it and see how the food industry is manipulated, man, it'll make you think about the way you eat your sugar, the way you eat your chocolate, the way you eat just so many simple things. And man, it's just a great show.
Yeah.
Great
so
show.
that's why, and I've always tried to do my research, even going back to the elderberry and all of that.
Hey, Simply Jam.
But seeing, and there are lots of people out there that use that. I don't think that's my choice. I don't think that's what I want to use. So I'm going to try the recipe of making the cheese, put it in the food processor. She does talk about how it's going to go through a grainy stage, and you want to make sure that you get past the grainy stage until it turns into cream. So I'm going to try it and see if it works. If not, like Colby said, it might be one of those things that we just, we might just have to sacrifice and not make. If there's no actual benefits of keeping it whole and healthy that we know by adding things into it that are not good for us.
Thank y'all so very much for being on with us. And we are running to the hour, so we're going to go ahead and get off. If you can, go jump over on Single Dad. Chris, great guy, great friend of ours.
Yes, and y'all please check out our moderators. They're awesome.
Yes, thank you, Miss Kathy. Thank you. Let's see who else was moderating tonight.
Mimsy's
Garden.
gone.
So thank y'all so much for being on and moderating.
Miss Grammy Karen.
That's right, Grammy Karen. So thank y'all again. Thank you for coming on. We always love chatting. If you check out some great shows, if you're trying to look for something good to watch, both of those are great shows.
They're very educational, very eye-opening. I think that you will learn a lot.
It makes you not want to eat and drink certain things. Like I told Misty, I was like, we're not buying this kind of sugar anymore, even though it's considered organic. It's like I know how they treat their workers, so I don't want to buy it anymore. So, but it makes you think, and that's a good thing for us to think. It reminds me of a very Joel Salatin style show about road food. So, thank you so much. Thank you for coming on. I cannot thank you enough. And
Happy New Year.
That's right. Happy New Year. We hope your 2020 is as blessed as 2019 was for you. God bless you.
Happy homesteading, y'all.
Good night, guys.